Hey, I'm Don.
And I'm Joshua. And you're watching POPPYN.
POPPYN stands for Presenting Our Perspective on Philly Youth News. We are a youth-led news show that highlights the positive things youth are doing around the city and our perspective on a range of issues. For our 22nd episode, we are focusing on the upcoming 2016 presidential election.
This election year, presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are facing off against each other. This election has been controversial, as both candidates have faced wide criticism and numerous scandals throughout the campaign.
Trump has encountered outrage and praise actually around his blatant sexist remarks, his promise to build a wall around Mexico, and his plan to ban Muslims from this country. His supporters argue that he's a strong businessman. His opponents point out his failed businesses have hurt many Americans.
Clinton has been criticized as a war hawk by peace activists, and many people argue that she will not hold big corporations accountable since she has accepted millions of dollars from Wall Street. Her email scandals have been headlines for months, but Hillary supporters argue that she is by far the most qualified for the job.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump aren't the only ones running in this election. We also have candidates from the third parties who are trying to claim the name POTUS.
Third party is a classification of other groups within the election that are not Democrat or Republican. As of April 2016, there were at least 28 distinct political parties in the United States that were ballot qualified. The two most popular third parties are the Libertarian Party and the Green Party.
The Libertarian Party stands for minimum government and maximum freedom. Today, Gary Johnson is the Libertarian Party presidential nominee.
And Jill Stein is the candidate representing the Green Party, a progressive party that denounces corporate involvement in politics.
While the election of the next president awaits, many voters are deciding which candidate will tackle the pressing issues that America faces today.
Issues such as climate change, gun control, drones, racial justice, the militarization of police, the economy, education, immigration, healthcare have all been major deciding factors in choosing the next president of the United States.
Young people across the country are concerned about student debt, access to jobs, and affordable healthcare. This year, we've seen the Fight for 15 movement and the Black Lives Matter movement expand, bringing more youth voices together and demanding bold change.
In our first segment, POPPYN goes to different parts of the city of Philadelphia to see what people know and think about voting, the presidential election, and other issues.
What's up, y'all? This is Nasir from POPPYN, and I'm here with Zaire. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming election. Are you registered to vote? No, I'm not registered to vote.
I'm an registered independent.
Yes, I'm registered to vote.
I'm registered, but I don't know if I'm voting.
Yeah.
I was registered to vote before as a Democrat, and then I stopped the Democrat and I just went on as independent, but I haven't actually voted in a while.
What is your opinion on the upcoming election?
I'm a Democrat, so I'm really anti-Trump. I don't think he should even be a candidate.
Well, I think we could do better.
I'm feeling good about Hillary, but I don't like Trump.
I'm definitely nervous. So I don't have a whole lot of confidence in either one of the candidates.
Are you familiar with any third-party candidates?
Not really.
Nope.
No.
No, not really.
I've heard of Jill Stein. I believe she's part of the Libertarian Party.
None of them have been on any social media.
And what are some issues that you would like to see being addressed?
They're the ones that get talked about but not done. Tax reform, immigration reform, jobs.
The economy and stuff like that. Really what I'm concerned about is human rights.
One issue would be our law enforcement. The next issue would be our education situation.
I think the issue that's big on me is the LGBT community. I have seen a lot of discrimination towards the LGBT community, and I don't think it's right because, you know, it don't matter if I like the male or female, I'm still the same person.
Will you be voting in this up and coming election?
Yes, I will.
No, I don't plan on voting.
Why not?
Whoever is in that position, your job is to protect the system that oppresses me. So it doesn't matter who I vote in, because your job, it doesn't matter, because even if you get in there and you say, oh, well, I want to run this system this way, and then the next person says, well, I'm going to run it this way. It's still the same system, though, and that system still oppresses me.
Voting is important, you know what I'm saying? It's our right as a people, you know what I'm saying, to get our voices out. If we want change to happen, you know what I'm saying, we got to be the ones to initiate the change, and one of those things is voting.
There's not many opportunities for us to express ourselves in terms of who we want to lead us, and without voting, you don't have that opportunity.
Why do you think it's important to vote?
I think it's important to vote because even though there aren't many good candidates this year, it's better, we're trying to keep Trump out of the office, and it's better to vote than not vote at all, because as an individual person, maybe your vote won't have a big impact, but it's as a whole community, it can have a really big impact on the state of the environment, the state of the country, and stuff like that.
I'm Dastani.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Nasir.
And that's what's poppin'.
Wow, most people weren't really aware of the third party's order candidates.
Well, this next segment will offer more insight on one of the third parties, the Green Party.
The Green Party is the country's 4th largest by party membership. Up next, Patrice and Romeo interview Green Party supporters and organizers at their office headquarters and a local rally.
Let's see what's poppin'.
Hi, I'm Romeo, and I'm here with
Patrice.
And we're from POPPYN. Today we're in front of the Green Party headquarters in South Philadelphia.
We are here interviewing people who are fighting for poor people's rights beyond the two-party system.
Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm here with Shanira, who is a member of the Poor People's Economics Human Rights Campaign. Tell me what you're doing here today.
Well, today I came in and we're making posters for the march on July 25th. And basically posters that say March for Our Lives, or we have rights to, and stuff like that.
We're organizing a march on July 25th to march down Broad Street from City Hall to have a voice for people that doesn't have a voice, like poor people.
Specifically, what allowed you to identify with the Green Party?
The Green Party, they saw potential, I suppose, and that we were fighting for our rights and what we believed in, and that this organization was fighting for the people of Philadelphia and allowing them to get what they deserve, a basic human rights.
After speaking to young people at the Green Party headquarters, later on that week, we went to a rally organized by the Green Party. At the rally, we spoke to supporters as well as 2008 vice presidential candidate for the Green Party, Rosa Clemente. Why do you support the Green Party?
I've been with the Green Party since 2000, so I don't believe in a two-party system. I don't believe any democracy should have two parties. And in the last 20 years, both parties have really become more corporatized, more elite.
It's the only party that stands up for people in poverty, okay? Every other party is going to support the middle class, and they'll talk about the middle class. They'll never talk about those in poverty.
We need a party of the 99%. We need a party of the 99%.
What ideas and beliefs tied to the party best help choose a candidate?
The main one that I can think of right now is what's on my shirt right here, people over profits. When we look at the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, they're two sides of the same coin.
Hillary was chosen beforehand, before anything had even happened. She was guaranteed the winner. So that's not democracy. Democratic Party is not democratic.
Do you support the Green Party?
Yes, absolutely. I support the Green Party. I hope that actually Bernie and Jill Stein can work something together. That way they can both make a party together or something like that.
I'm with Ms. Sherry Honkala, the director of Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign. What does the Green Party stand for?
They stand for a new society, for putting an end to racism, putting an end to student debt, for democracy, for peace. They have 10 pillars, and it's nothing like the Democratic or the Republican Party.
We're constantly being told to vote for the lesser evil, and each time we do that, we end up getting further and further away from the goals that we need to be in.
Why do you think Jill Stein is the best candidate for the Green Party?
I don't know if Jill Stein is the best candidate this year. I think the Green Party has a serious problem with race and dealing with racial justice. I don't agree with Jill's position on Palestine and some other issues. With that said, it's not enough disagreement to keep me not voting for a party that I believe the people of the party are about the things that most of us are about.
The goals of the Green Party is to support the freedoms that we all have, even those that we're not aware of. Feminism, Black Lives Matter, just getting away from the elitist mentality that's kept us voting for our oppressors for so long.
Once again, I'm Ramil, and I'm here with
Bradley.
And that's what's poppin'.
Welcome back. This summer, the Democratic National Convention, or DNC, was hosted right here in Philadelphia.
The DNC is where Democrats from across the country decide on their presidential nominees.
Every party has a national convention during the presidential election. The Libertarian Party has their convention in Orlando this past May, where they nominated Gary Johnson.
The Republican National Convention took place earlier this summer in Cleveland, where they nominated Donald Trump.
Later this summer, the Green Party convention will take place in Houston, Texas, where they'll nominate their candidate, Jill Stein.
This past July, POPPYN producers King and Samira visited the DNC.
POPPYN went to the Philadelphia Convention Center to interview delegates about the election.
POPPYN also interviewed protesters at the convention who showed up to make their voices heard.
Hey, I'm Samira from POPPYN here at the Doubletree Hotel, here to talk to Democratic delegates about the DNC. Let's check it out. And can you tell us a little bit about why you're here today?
I'm a Bernie delegate.
I'm supporting Hillary Clinton.
I'm a pledged Bernie Sanders delegate.
I'm a delegate for Bernie Sanders.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary, definitely.
I'm supporting Bernie Sanders.
The Democratic Party, and what I mean by that is, even though I am a Bernie delegate, once they nominated Hillary Clinton, that's who I support.
Can you tell us about your role as a delegate and how you got that position?
Sure. My role as a delegate is to come out and support the candidate that I'm in favor of.
I saw that there was an open application for delegates, so I put my name in, and I was fortunate enough to get selected.
I applied for district level, at large, and PLEO. And PLEO is party leader elected official, and I got at large.
What are your observations about the DNC so far?
The DNC's been great. I mean, there's some really passionate people involved with the Sanders campaign. And, I was really passionate for Obama in 2008, and I think they were great. And I think it's going to be a big change. I think people weren't expecting Bernie Sanders to do as well as he did in the primary. And he did well, and we're going to have to bring those people into the fold and into the party.
She wants to make certain America keeps its promise to all of its children. That's the Hillary Rodham Clinton. That's the Hillary Rodham Clinton.
And how do you feel about everything that's been happening for the last couple of weeks involving the election?
I feel that the DNC could do better. I mean, there is a difference between having 1,900 people just voting for you and having 1,900 people going out and working the communities for the nominee.
They're trying to move Bernie people into supporting Hillary without really making substantive change. I mean, there have been some surface change, but I think historically speaking for me, I know Hillary has tacked to the center. She will say one particular thing, and then months later, it will switch to something else. And so that's my concern. My concern is that she's saying right now she's anti-TPP, she's anti-fracking, she's pro universal education and universal health care. But my concern is that when she gets into those rooms with corporations, that all of that's going to go out the window.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Bernie Sanders delegate. He is my choice to be nominee presidency of the United States. But at the same point, the voters have spoken, seen that they want Hillary Clinton.
What are some things that youth under 18 can do to contribute to politics?
Well, to stay engaged in your community.
Get involved. Don't stand back. Pretty much all of the issues that we deal with affects you. And because it does, you have a right, although you cannot vote, but you have the greatest influence on your parents to vote.
In addition to speaking to delegates at the DNC, we spoke to community organizers at the DNC Action Press Conference. where people spoke on a range of issues from Black Lives Matter to disability rights and other concerns. And what is the goal of the DNC Action Committee?
The goal of the DNC Action Committee is twofold. One is to increase participation in grassroots events that are in dissent to and objection to the Democratic National Convention as well as the party. The second is very Philly-centric. Each of the organizations who are here today fight on a lot of different issues, including $15 minimum wage, environmental justice, racial justice, ending stop and frisk, women's rights, children's rights.
I'm from the Fair Ride Philly Coalition, which is an organization of disabled people and also drivers, taxi drivers, limo drivers, and rideshare drivers like Uber and Lyft.
I'm with the Unconventional Times. It's a newspaper that we created for the Democratic National Convention so that we can pass them out to people who see our marches going by, and they ask, why are they protesting the Democrats? But we have a lot of reasons in this city to protest the Democrats.
Well, our plans for the Democratic National Convention is to have a large black and brown contingency and solidarity support march and rally. It is to galvanize the community and to hear what is some of the qualms that they have around police violence and how we can take back control of our community and the way that police interact with us.
We can use the actual Democratic National Convention to bring attention to these organizations, bring volunteers into them, and by strengthening our grassroots who work from the bottom up, then we can actually repair our city.
After interviewing community organizers at the DNC Action Press Conference, we caught up with organizers at a protest organized by Students for Justice in Palestine later that week. Hey, I'm Samira from POPPYN here with
Ibrahim Samira.
So what are you guys out here doing today?
We're protesting the Democratic Convention, going against the Palestinian human rights cause with its current platform that denies the existence of an occupation, does not stand against illegal settlements that steal Palestinian land, and generally speaking just has a very terrible approach towards Middle Eastern foreign policy.
Why is it important for voters to know about Palestine?
It's important for voters to know about Palestine because over $3 billion of U.S. tax money goes to funding Israeli apartheid and the Israeli military, which oppresses Palestinians on a daily basis.
Do you think that this organization could influence the candidate's platform?
We have, and we will continue to do that. We have been influencing the Democratic candidates for presidency, and we've done it by consistently pushing them through protests and through advocacy, through call-ins, through letter write-ups to them, telling them that, hey, we're here, we're mobilized, we'll get voters to the booths against you if you don't stand with our causes. And they have responded positively, just as not as positively as we want them to.
Once again, I'm King from POPPYN here with
Tamar Govin.
And that's what's poppin'.
Thank you, King and Samira, for collecting various perspectives of protesters and delegates.
Now let's DNC what we got next.
Really?
What?
For our next segment, POPPYN takes you to the Philadelphia Youth Action Assembly.
This assembly was organized by the grassroots organization Urban Creators. It was a 2-day event that brought together youth, educators, activists, and community members to discuss issues that they care about and the solutions they envision.
POPPYN got to document and participate in the Education for Liberation panel. Josh was there with Nasir to interview people. Check it out.
Hey, my name is Joshua.
And I'm Nasir.
And this is What's Poppin'. We're here at 12th and Vine at the Asian Art Initiative.
There's a youth action assembly organized by Philly Urban Creators.
There's going to be a panel discussion today about education for liberation. Let's go check it out.
And you see so-and-so child not in school, hit their parents up. Like, you know your kid not in school? Like, do something about that. Like, it's not about, like, mind your own business. Like, that's not what it's about right now. Like, we all need to help each other. We need to make sure each other is
Hey, my name is Joshua, and I'm here with Janine. She is the co-founder of Urban Creators, and she also co-created Youth Action Assembly. So, what motivated you to create this?
Actually, 2 blocks away at the convention center, there are delegates from all over the country that are talking about the next elected officials that are going to be running a lot of the stuff in this country. But the young people specifically that this stuff is going to affect don't get a voice within the DNC. So we wanted to create a space for young people nationally and locally here in Philadelphia to be able to come, talk to different people that are experts on these issues and young people that are expert on these issues to figure out different solutions on issues like Black Lives Matter, food justice, incarceration in young people, and etc.
I came out as transgender in an all-boys high school in the middle of my senior year. What was your main theme that you were talking about?
The main theme that I wanted to get across and what I was speaking about was that intersectionality does matter, that being both biracial and both being a person of color and both being, a trans person, is that my experiences overlap and my situations overlap. I don't just get oppression based off of one marginalized identity that I do have, but it affects my whole person.
We created and crafted within 6 months a policy, and it was passed unanimously in June of 2016. And so now trans youth
They say we're the leaders of tomorrow. We're the leaders of today. So we need to figure out how we can do things today to make tomorrow even better.
What was the message you was trying to get across?
That youth voice matter, that we are important, and that we have to continue to advocate for public education throughout the city of Philadelphia, throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but throughout the nation.
So Hazel, what did you get from this experience here?
I took away a lot of things. I felt very rejuvenated and refreshed getting to listen to so many different stories from youth, and especially youth activists. So I would say that was the main thing that I took away from today, is a lot of inspiration.
What do you hope was the outcome?
We hope that the outcome that is that young people take more part in democracy, that young people express themselves on these different issues, and that the people that we have that are coming from different government agencies, that they're inspired by the art that's placed in Action Assembly and inspired by the young people that are speaking so articulately on these different issues.
Once again, my name is Joshua.
And I'm Hazel.
And that's what's poppin'.
The Youth Action Assembly demonstrated that youth have input and ideas on what's happening in our communities.
I know, right? Everyone coming together and being able to voice their opinions really feels empowering.
Speaking of hearing many opinions, sometimes this can make it hard to figure out your own ideas or thoughts, especially about this election.
There's a lot of pressure on voters right now. A lot of Americans have strong feelings about the candidates, the parties, and the election as a whole.
Up next, we present a skit written and directed by POPPYN producers Destani and Joshua. This skit captures the inner voices of voters while they're making decisions at the voting booth.
Let's roll the clip.
You're finally 18. Aren't you excited to vote?
I take a backseat to no one when you look at my record and standing up and fighting for progressive values.
It's time for a woman president. She's an extremely intelligent woman.
Hillary is backed by corporate America.
Hillary approved over 200 drone strikes in Pakistan alone.
You have to vote for Hillary so Trump doesn't win.
Trump will say what is on his mind. We need a president who's real.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Trump is a businessman.
Hillary's a war hawk.
The Democrats and the Republicans are basically the same.
Being a libertarian is being fiscally conservative and socially liberal.
Why aren't the third parties on the ballot?
My campaign represents the continuing agenda of the Bernie Sanders campaign.
If you vote for the Green Party, you're splitting the votes. You're going to help Trump win.
If you're a real feminist, you'll vote for Hillary.
I heard Hillary does anything for votes. She even has hot sauce in her bag.
I'm not going to vote. My vote doesn't matter anyway.
Our ancestors fought for the right to vote. You better vote.
Every vote counts.
I heard
you
that
have
Hillary
to
was a
vote.
liar.
There are
She
videos
lied
on
about
the
her
internet.
If we keep voting for the lesser of two evils, nothing is going to change.
Trump made fun of a disabled person.
Hillary's changed her opinion way too much.
She will do anything.
Trump
Trump even care about voters. Trump knows how everyone runs. We need this.
Enough. It's interesting to see how other people's opinions can influence your judgment on a candidate.
True, especially when most of us are first-time voters. It is really important for us to do our own research so we know what candidates are right for us.
Some believe that since we have the right to vote, we should definitely take advantage of it. But many people don't vote because they don't believe their votes count.
A presidential candidate must claim 270 electoral votes before being declared president, and each state is given electoral votes based off their population.
This system is controversial. However, because a candidate can lose the popular vote and still win the election. This happened in 2000 when Al Gore won 54,000 more votes than George Bush but still lost the election.
Many candidates try to focus on swing states because we, the United States, have a winner-take-all system when it comes to electoral votes. Recently, in Wisconsin and North Carolina, judges struck down a voting law for being unconstitutional. The North Carolina judge argued that the law targeted African Americans with almost surgical precision.
Up next, Samira and Tamira explain more about voter suppression.
Look like it's time for Breaking It Down.
Hey, I'm Tamira.
And I'm Samira.
And we're
Breaking It Down.
Breaking It Down is a segment where we come together to research a topic and we give you the background, facts, and statistics.
Today, we're going to break down voter suppression and how it applies in today's elections.
Voter suppression is a strategy used to influence the outcome of an election by discouraging or preventing people from exercising the right to vote.
Laws like the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was created to stop voter suppression. This law specifically prohibits racial discrimination in voting and gave black people the unrestricted right to vote.
But voter suppression is still a problem, and the historic Voting Rights Act has been under attack.
The 2013 Supreme Court decision in the Shelby v. Holder case increased voting restrictions while decreasing the amount of federal oversight on elections.
Experts predict this decision will lead to a new era of voter suppression.
One historic voter suppression tactic that is still active today is gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering is when minority groups are being pushed out into one or fewer districts to make space for the majority to have an influence on the election. Gerrymandering tends to diminish the voting power of black and brown communities by dividing them.
Voter suppression tactics mostly have to do with the issues of access by making it difficult for certain people to have access to voting.
Things as simple as changing polling hours, locations, election days, and the number of polling places affects people's access to voting.
The absence of multilingual voter assistance also makes it difficult for non-English speakers to vote.
Poll places that are not wheelchair accessible exclude the disabled community.
In most states, incarcerated people have their voting rights temporarily or permanently taken away. That means that 5.8 million people are disenfranchised or unable to vote because of a felony conviction. For example, in Kentucky, shoplifting could permanently remove an individual's right to vote.
1 of every 13 black people have lost their voting rights due to felony disenfranchisement laws, versus 1 in every 56 non-black voters. The 19th Project and Project Vote are 2 organizations fighting to restore voting rights for these people.
One of the most common tactics of voter suppression that is being enforced today are photo ID laws.
That's right. For example, House Bill 934 in Pennsylvania is a new law being considered by the Senate that will require all voters to show a photo ID at the polls.
Supporters of these laws say that if we need an ID to go on a plane, we should need an ID to vote. The stated intent of presenting a photo ID is to prevent voter fraud.
So they just want to know exactly who's voting for safety purposes?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, James Baker, former Secretary of State, wrote that the electoral system cannot inspire public confidence if no safeguards exist to deter or detect fraud or to confirm the identity of voters.
In theory, this sounds like a great way to stop voter fraud. However, when put into practice, the impact is on marginalized people and their votes are affected disproportionately. This includes low-income and working-class people, students, people of color, disabled people, and immigrant populations.
A new study by political scientists at the University of California at San Diego found that a strict photo ID law could be expected to depress Latino turnout by 9.3 points, Black turnout by 8.6 points, and Asian American turnout by 12.5 points.
Racial justice advocates argue that photo ID laws are not about preventing voter fraud, which according to studies rarely happens, but rather about making it difficult for certain groups of people to vote.
So what policies are voting rights advocates pushing for?
One argument is to expand early voting and make Election Day a federal holiday. This way it allows people to vote early, which can help reduce pressures on Election Day. If hourly wage earners didn't have to worry about losing pay while they wait in long lines to vote, this would increase the voter turnout.
Another effort voting rights advocates push for is the monitoring of bills to make sure our voting rights are protected. In 2015, Project Vote was able to monitor 315 bills. They also joined citizens and other advocates demanding the vote's right protections are restored.
Don't think that you can't do anything to help make a difference. The first step to protecting your rights is knowing them. Be sure to research the voting laws in your area so you know where to start.
And you don't have to be the only one fighting to protect your rights. You can talk to your neighbors and join an organization that has your back when it comes to your right to vote.
Also, talk to your legislators and let them know that you and your community are watching to ensure that your rights are protected.
Fighting for voters and their rights has been a long battle since the beginning of this country, and we hope that this segment has shown that the struggle for equal voting rights for all continues today.
Being aware is the first step to making a change. We hope that you'll take our information into consideration and get involved.
I'm Samira.
And I'm Tamira.
And we just broke it down.
So that wraps up our 22nd episode on the 2016 presidential election. Remember, you can learn more about the organizations we visited and events covered on their website.
To our viewers who are online, you can use the hashtag President2016 to join the national and international conversation about this election.
Please connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook online and let us know what you think about this episode.
Also, you can find this episode and all the individual segments on the YouTube channel, What's Poppin'.
So once again, I'm Josh.
And I'm Don.
And that's What's Poppin'.